Welcome to the Disneyland beat, where our toes tap to a Disneyland drum.
And we always whistle while we work.
There's a heat wave coming, triple digits during the day, and not getting below the high 70s at night in Disneyland.
We're going to run down every air-conditioned ride, restaurant, and shop at the parks that we can think of, land by land.
So let's get cool. Come on into the parks with us.
Like, subscribe, and stick around.
Disneyland is your land.
Come seek an adventure at the old pirates, eh?
Make the jump to Lightspeed.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm TC. At Main Street, U.S.A., you can find air conditioning at most of the shops. At Town Square, City Hall, and the Opera House have great air conditioning. We highly recommend the Opera House lobby, which usually has an exhibit, or you can take in great moments with Mr. Lincoln, where you can stay long enough to really cool down.
As mentioned, the main shops, which are mostly interconnected from the Emporium to Refreshment Corner and the Mad Hatter to the Plaza Point Holiday Shop, all have air conditioning, but its effectiveness can vary. Several doors are open to the outside.
Also worth noting are the Child Care Center and the First Aid Center, which both offer emergency cool-off rooms for overheated folks. We also recommend the Main Street Cinema.
Note that dining at most places on Main Street, with the exception of the indoor seating areas for the Carnation Cafe and the Plaza Inn, are outdoors.
In Adventureland, finding air conditioning is right there when you walk in. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, beautifully chilly as you take in the 15-minute birdie show.
And Indiana Jones Adventure, once you make it in a ways into the queue, is air-conditioned throughout the rest of the queue and the whole ride. None of the other dining locations or rides in Adventureland are air-conditioned.
At New Orleans Square, the shops are air-conditioned, but they are small with open doors, so you usually don't linger too terribly long, and they're not overly cool. The only dining location not offering outdoor or breezeway seating and having air conditioning is Blue Bayou, which is of course inside the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction.
The two major rides in the land, on the other hand, both Pirates and Haunted Mansion, are air-conditioned once you get inside. Both are pretty long and excellent ways to cool off.
Of course, if you belong to Club 33 or are able to dine at 21 Royal, these upscale experiences include air-conditioned spaces to glamorously party down in.
Moving over to Critter Country, the lines get long for Splash Mountain on a hot day, and while it's true that you might get wet and the indoor portions are air-conditioned, it's equally true that the outdoor portions and almost all of the queue are not, with much of it lacking any shade at all.
The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is an air-conditioned dark ride, though the queue is also outdoors. Pooh Corner, the main shop in the land, is air-conditioned as they make candy there and it would be melting all over the place. This is a big shop with lots to look at, so be sure to stop by.
There's no indoor seating at Hungry Bear, the Briar Patch is not air-conditioned, and if you want to get really hot, be sure to ride the canoes.
Moving on to Galaxy's Edge, there are quite a few air-conditioned experiences, though some of them do cost extra money.
First, the rides. Both Rise of Resistance and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run have most of their queues and ride experiences happening inside in the very cool air conditioning, because after all, it is supposed to be cold in outer space.
The main quick-service dining location for the land is Docking Bay 7, and it has a good amount of indoor seating, and the air condition, though not often as chilly as we would like it, is running.
Many of the shops do not have air conditioning because they're themed to an open-air market of some sort, but a handful do. Doc Ondar's is a nice shop that has air conditioning, plus the Droid Depot and the Upcharge experience building lightsabers at Savi's workshop are all comfortably cool.
Oga's Cantina is another great place to stop by and cool off at. Very cool, very fun.
Frontierland has a few great spots to cool off at. Head to the Golden Horseshoe, a place that famously had cold air and even colder Pepsi for sale for years. The cold air, luckily, is still there.
The main indoor dining room at the Riverbell Terrace is air-conditioned if you can get a seat there.
Pioneer Mercantile usually has its doors open to the outside, but it's air-conditioned inside. The Trading Post always seems pretty crowded and warm to us.
Fantasyland, in our opinion, feels like a pretty hot land. Most of the shops are small with weak air conditioning in the castle. Every queue we can think of is either outside or in a breezeway, but there are saving graces, the dark rides.
Pinocchio's Daring Journey, Snow White's Enchanted Wish, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Peter Pan, and Alice in Wonderland offer a few brief minutes in wonderful, cool, air-conditioned darkness, and the king of them all is It's a Small World. Though it also has an outdoor queue, has a much longer ride time, and who knows, you might get stuck.
We would avoid the Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough on a hot day, and let's take a moment to point out that Mr. Toad's Wild Ride actually has a room that is heated. Thanks, J. Thaddeus.
The Red Rose Tavern can be a great place to cool off as well. There are 2 well-themed dining rooms inside, but they fill up quick. It can be hard to get a seat on a hot day.
We're going to wait on discussing Toontown until the new version reopens. The older version was a bit of a fry-up on a hot day.
Heading to Tomorrowland, 2 of the better air-conditioned spaces that you could escape to are currently closed. The Star Wars Launch Bay in the Carousel Theater and the Tomorrowland Theater.
However, Space Mountain is very air-conditioned, and much of the queue is indoors. Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters is also air-conditioned, though much of that queue stays outside.
Star Tours The Adventure Continues has most of its queue inside and is very well air-conditioned. It is a great ride to cool off on.
We would suggest avoiding the monorail, as it can be sweltering in there without any air conditioning. And the Finding Nemo submarine voyage might be avoided. It always seems pretty stuffy to us, though it's not as hot, for sure.
The Star Trader and Astro Blasters gift shops are air-conditioned, and one dining spot, a portion of Alien Pizza Planet seating, is indoors and chilly cool.
That wraps up the spots in Disneyland that are air-conditioned that we can think of. We're going to move over to DCA, but be sure to add something in the comments if we missed it.
Buena Vista Street has 2 huge buildings on each side of it with interconnected shops that are all beautifully air-conditioned and fun to spend a lot of time in. They're pretty roomy with lots to look at.
Again, worth noting is the Chamber of Commerce and the first aid stations here offer emergency cooling rooms in this park.
There is indoor air-conditioned seating at Clarabelle's Ice Cream and the Fiddler Pfeiffer and Practical Cafe, and, if you're feeling fancy, the main dining room, not the alfresco lounge seating obviously, but the main dining room of the Carthay Circle restaurant is elegantly air-conditioned.
As you move towards Hollywoodland, you're going to find some awesome literal chill-out spots. There's a couple shops, Off the Page and Gone Hollywood, and a couple of shows. The Disney Junior Theater offers a fun show inside worth checking out, and Mickey's PhilharMagic, both the lobby and the theater are air-conditioned respites you can spend some time in.
And the Animation Building has several things to do. You could easily spend an hour here exploring exhibits and taking in interactive shows in the cool air.
Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue is a nice dark ride inside in the cold, but if the line is long, note that some of the queue offers very little shade. Can be pretty warm.
Stage 17 is open as an Avengers-themed shop, and it's huge, inside, and air-conditioned, so it's a good spot to spend some time at.
The Hyperion Theater, unfortunately, has not returned with a new show yet. In the past, this was a great way to cool off, enjoying a high-quality show that all in all would take maybe an hour to experience.
Avengers Campus is another hot one. There's not a ton of shade in this land. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is an exception, with most of its queues and pre-shows happening inside the cold tower, but you'll spend much of Web Slingers, unless you pay for Lightning Lane, outside in the heat. There are at least fans there.
Once you make it to the pre-show portion inside, though, the rest of Web Slingers does happen inside in air conditioning, and it's nice and chilly. Otherwise, dining and shopping at Avengers Campus, it's going to be a pretty warm proposition, with no indoor seating and small crowded shops.
Heading over to Cars Land, there is actually one particularly cool spot, the artificially chilly indoor seating sections at Flo's V8 Cafe. There are 2, both wonderfully themed, but they're not too big.
You can also check out Sarge's Surplus, a fairly sizable shop that is air-conditioned too. Mostly the rest of the shops, like Ramone's, are more breezeway style and not so cool.
Most of the rides are outdoors, and the queues definitely are, though Mater's at least offers a lot of shade. Radiator Springs Racers does have a significant indoor portion of the ride that is air-conditioned, but the outdoor queue wait can be a hot one.
You will find that the Pacific Wharf has lots of shade, but almost no air-conditioned spaces that you can chill at for long. Ghirardelli's Ice Cream Parlor is the exception, which has some limited indoor seating so you can eat your ice cream without it melting super fast.
And while the bread tour is air-conditioned, the rest of the spots in the land offer outdoor or breezeway seating, even Wine Country Trattoria. We do miss the Blue Sky Cellar, which was an air-conditioned showcase in the basement of the complex, which was quite chilly.
Pixar Pier and Paradise Gardens have a few hidden air-conditioned dining locations and rides, but overall, it too can be a pretty hot spot.
The Little Mermaid Ariel's Adventure is inside and in the cool, and most of the time there isn't much outdoor queue to wait in.
Bing Bong Sweet Stuff is a fun air-conditioned shop, though it loses its effectiveness with the doors wide open. Knickknacks offers an air-conditioned shopping experience as well.
The indoor seating portion of Lamplight Lounge, if you can get a reservation, is classy and air-conditioned.
The only Pixar Pier ride with air conditioning is Toy Story Midway Mania. It is very chilly once you get fully inside the ride, but the queue, including the indoor portions, is very hot indeed.
Which takes us to our final land for this video, Grizzly Peak. The land's main water ride, Grizzly River Run, might cool you off if you get lucky and the geyser chooses you, but the queue is entirely outside, though shaded.
Soaring around the world, or maybe even over California if you're lucky, can be a nice long time in the air conditioning. Once you make it inside the show building, the queue and the ride enjoy quite chilly air. And the outdoor portion has shade, misters, and fans.
The only dining location in the land, Smoke Jumper's Grill, has some indoor seating in the air conditioning that is awesome if you could snag a table.
And that wraps up all of the air-conditioned rides, restaurants, and spaces that you can hang out in that we can think of actually inside the parks. Did we miss any? Let us know in the comments.
Thanks, everyone! May the light in the firehouse window always shine bright.
See you real soon, Mouseketeers.